You're ready to go for the second question?
Okay. Robin, what do you think should be done to get us out of our current situation?
I see four things that we really have to do. The first one is to reclaim our sovereignty. For the last 2 years, we've had the European Central Bank effectively running our affairs, and it's been a disaster for us. When this so-called bailout plan is in full effect, our economy will be run by the IMF and the European Central Bank, and however bad it's been for the last 2 years, it's only going to get worse. We have to reclaim our sovereignty, end this bailout plan, and we have to, if necessary, hold a referendum on it. There's no way within our constitution it's possible to hand away our sovereignty in this way, no matter what the financial state of the country is. The second thing we have to do is we have to take our banking debt away from our sovereign debt. No other country in the world has capitulated the way Ireland did in its financial difficulties by adding the debts of gambles by foreign banks onto their sovereign debt sheet. It's ridiculous. And as soon as that happened, as soon as we took on this banking debt onto our sovereign debt, as dictated to us by the European Central Bank, what happened was the bond markets where we'd normally borrow money ran away from us. They said under no circumstances can we lend money to a country that takes on debts that it doesn't owe. And that's why we are in the situation we're in now. We're dependent now on European help and IMF help, because by taking on the bondholder debt, which was what the European Bank dictated us to do, we had nowhere else to get money. So we're completely dependent now. Thirdly, we definitely have to leave the euro. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And fourthly then, we have to do an immediate audit of our natural resources, nationalise them where we can, but even where the licences have already been given out, the main strength that we have is that when the resources are on our territory, we can tax them at whatever level we like. Now in Norway they tax their oil and gas at 78%, their offshore oil at 78%, Bolivia it's 80%. There's no reason we can't tax all our oil and gas at 75%. Now, one of the main problems that we have with this bailout plan is that we no longer have sovereignty to make those decisions of what our tax is going to be. So the Dunquin oil field just off the coast of Kerry, I think it is, they've got 4 billion barrels of oil, which is a market value of $400 billion. And that's being drilled at the moment by ExxonMobil and by Statoil and a couple of others. And the oil is ready to start being pumped in 2 years' time, between 2013 and 2015. Now, the IMF happens to have gotten power of attorney over our economy just 2 years before the oil is starting to flow. So it's of fundamental importance to us that we reject this bailout plan so that we're able to exercise our rights to tax these resources as much as we can. Our own government has said that we've got 10 billion barrels of oil in various places off the west coast. The New York Times, in an article in 2007, said that we had 8 billion barrels in the Atlantic margin. That's, if our government's right, we've got $1 trillion worth of oil out there, and yet we're in a situation where, because of a $65 billion loan, we'll never be able to access that or have control over it, rather. It's a ridiculous situation, and people really have to look at the bigger picture. If we accept this bailout plan, for the sake of the 65 billion that we're being lent at the moment, we lose access to taxing $1 trillion worth of oil, and that's only in the areas that they're sure of. There's the Porcupine Basin, which is still being checked, and other areas off our west coast. So it's of fundamental importance that we maintain control of our natural resources.